Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. So a lot of the time over the last few months we've spoken about the higher levels of inflation. But right now I keep hearing this new buzzword, stagflation. So Guillaume, can you tell us a little bit about what stagflation means?
Yes, sure, Tom. It's stagflation is the combination of slow economic growth and high inflation. As you know, we've been used to, higher inflation recently, but economic growth was generally picking up, and the difference with stagflation really is, you get too much inflation, and effectively at a point where it starts to impact economic growth to the downside. And it's relatively unusual and usually caused by supply shock. Obviously, like what we're seeing currently going on with energy supply from Russia. But yeah, if it goes for long enough, it starts to impact economic growth.
So that must be central bankers' worst nightmare then. So higher inflation, slower growth. They're in this catch-22 scenario where if they increase interest rates to address the inflation problem, then they're going to start to slow economic growth further. So when have we last been in a stagflationary environment?
Yes, sure. It's actually quite unusual that you have to go back to have a proper stagflation. You have to go back 50 years to the 70s. 1973, there was a war in the Middle East, and effectively that resulted in an oil embargo from oil producers to the West, and that's created the first oil shock, and very high inflation in the United States at the time. And the Federal Reserve, as you said, responded to the shock by raising interest rate by almost 10%. Unemployment was rising. The stock markets in 20 months, lost 50% of its value almost. And the issue there is that oil price stayed high, so it took a while for things to normalize.
So some of the oil shocks, it feels eerily similar to what we're currently going through with the invasion of Ukraine from Russia. Is our central view now that stagflation's on the cards?
Well, for us, the jury is still out, to be honest. First, we're much less dependent economically on oil than we were 50 years ago. Also, the consumer is in a much better shape. At least it was until the start of the conflict. So we're definitely less sure about the stag part rather than deflation. Ultimately, it will depend on how high energy price remain and more importantly, for how long. But certainly more risk for Europe. Effectively, Europe could get sort of close to recessions if energy prices remain very high for a long period. So yeah, as you said, definitely a headache for the European Central Bank at the moment.
Okay, so let's hope that those energy prices start to creep back down again. Guillaume, thanks so much for your time today, and thanks everyone for watching as always, and we'll be back again next week with another episode.